So scenario 2, I should say that normally we would go through this with a more general eye to how it can help you, but today we're focusing on the documentation. So all of these will have a documentation element to them. So scenario 2, you have a user reporting a problem with a help button on the help desk, and you want to find the workflow that caused the error message to appear based on a partial text match, and obviously produce documentation. So in Abydos Analyser, if I shoot back to Analyzer, cancel this, we have a few different ways of going about this. Our favorite way is to use an event diagram. It's a very useful diagram which allows us to produce a flow diagram in the execution order based on triggering events and showing all the workflow that fires from there. So we want to look at this help button. If I just scoot to H. There we go. And here again we can limit it by date modified, so it will only show workflow modified in a date range if that's what you want to do, if you know that changes have been made recently. And this is the sort of output you can expect. This is a very simplistic, a very simple diagnostic problem because it's a very simple event diagram. So if I just zoom in a bit here, you can see that this is the execution order with the logic inside it. These symbols have a key over here, and we can see what those mean. And we can see here that there is a message. The message, well, there is only one message on here, so we can safely assume that this is the message you want to look at. Now, with all Abydos Analyser diagrams, you can drill down into the elements and see them in more detail. So if I double-click on this element here, it drills down and gives you a window that should be fairly familiar to anybody who's used Remedy Admin Tool because it's pretty much exactly the same. And from here, you can make changes if you want to. If I want to change that to execute on submit, I can. And I can save that, and it will save it directly back to the server. Now, we want to find this message, and here it is. It's under the else actions there. Okay, so that's a really simple way of diagnosing a problem with any triggering action, any workflow that triggers off an event. I'm just going to, pardon me. Let's not do that. I'm going to copy that, not paste. The other option we have is to do a search for the error message. We've got some partial text now that we can use. We can paste it into, sorry, I should say that. I should say that again because I did it pretty quickly. We've got to analyze, find error message. And you can search for any messages, not just error messages, based on the message number, if that's what you have, some text, which we have, or you can just search by a single word or phrase. If I do this search, we should find that it's found exactly the same element, srh, I'll open file here, and then we can drill down into this again and make the changes we need. What we can also do with these event diagrams, bringing it back to documentation, is we can produce a report on this. Now, I'm just going to redraw this and make it a bit more interesting. So if I just change it to submit now and run as the triggering action and run an event diagram, we should get a far more complex and therefore far more interesting diagram to work with. It's taking a little bit more time. It's just working out all the elements. So here again, you can see that it's produced a very, very long, very complicated and detailed look at this particular event. You can see that we can differentiate between server-side operations and client-side. And what we can do from here, as with a lot of the diagrams on Abydos Analyser, is produce a report. And this is where we can produce documentation. Obviously, you can use this flow diagram if you like and export that to Word as an image. Or you can save it as a Visio diagram, manipulate it as you wish. But we're going to produce a tabular report here. And what the run report does is export all this information into an Excel file. And here again, you can see this is exactly the same information in the same execution order with the labels for whether it's server-side or not. And it's just put into a Excel spreadsheet for you. And then you can print this as alongside your diagram, and you can have a very high-quality document listing that specific problem. Okay. So I'll just go back to the slides again. We'll have a look at how long we think. We think that would probably take you 30 minutes to an hour to solve that problem. Producing the documentation for that would probably take like another couple of hours on top of that. And also, if you make any changes to fix the problem and you want to document those, then you'll have to do that as well manually. So we think that that's a pretty low estimate of how long that problem would take with documentation. So moving on to scenario 3, the problem is identified. Well, we've identified the problem on the help desk help button, and the fix is added to the planned new release of the changes to the help desk application. Generate a graphical and tabular report showing which other forms are touched by the help desk and how they are related for testing. Now, this is a very tricky thing to do. Normally, we reckon that would take you 1 to 2 days to get a full assessment of the impact of making changes to the help desk. With Abydos Analyser, we can create another diagram called the form relationship diagram. And what you can do is take one or more forms and show all the workflow that links them together. What I've done here is already pre-selected the help desk, and what I've told it to do with this inclusion rule is to show me all the forms linked to the help desk. And down here I can choose what objects to include as well. I'm just going to include pretty much everything. So you can get a nice, attractive-looking diagram that you can put into some context. And what it'll produce, and this is the joy of using Visio, is a very clear diagram with all the information you need. So here's the help desk in the middle, standard. And you can see the forms around it in the gray. All the lines here represent workflow objects. You can see by the key over here that active links are in blue. There we go. And when there's more than one relationship between the two elements, it'll show it like this with, say 4 tables. And what we can do is drill down into these. It'll show all the separate workflow objects, and then you can drill down into those, make any changes you need to, if that's what you want to do. If, however, you want to take this and produce a tabular report, here again we can go to Produce Report. It'll take this information and export it into Excel for you. Starting with the main form in the middle, it'll show all the forms and how they're linked to the other forms around it, the action that is associated with that, and that's that job done. So now you know you've got a list here of all the things that you'll have to test, assuming you have a need to test all the other forms impacted when you've made changes to the help desk. And this can be printed again. Okay. So this diagram is obviously very detailed. You can do a diagram of the whole entire system if you like. It'll eat your computer alive for a while, but it will do it eventually. And what we can also do from here, which is just a little bonus feature, is we can actually add workflow to the diagram, and this will be added live to the server. So I've just added a filter here between these two forms. You may not, and it's not actually got any purpose, but you can set the object properties from here, and then it'll be uploaded live onto the server. Okay. Obviously, you can move these around and shrink this down a bit to make it more useful to you to put in some sort of report that you may be writing. So that's just a really easy way to show all the forms, show the relationships between the forms in an application. We have a lot of customers who use this for familiarizing new starters with their customized applications, or just for people who are new to the Remedy space and need to learn a bit more about applications. We think that would normally take you 1 to 2 days, like I say.